Hey guys! Bright and sunny morning. We had a tropical storm yesterday which knocked things around a bit. I lost a bunch of my sunflowers, but everything else seems to be pretty much okay. Oh, there's a hummingbird. I would try to show you, but he'd probably be gone before I got there. Anyway, so it's the beginning of August, and I thought I'd give you guys a little garden tour for today. Next week I'm going to be talking about seed saving and using seeds, so that ought to be fun. But I figured for today I will show you what's growing, what's done growing, the little bit of damage we had from our storm yesterday, and maybe talk about what I'm planning to plant and why I haven't really started planting fall crops yet. So let's get going. Show you around. So we'll get started on this side. There's the kids' gardens. A little on the wonky side at the moment. Got some aphids and the cucumbers over there. Just waiting for Finn's watermelons to ripen up. That is early purple sprouting broccoli that has not sprouted yet. I'm hoping it will sprout in the fall. My corn just completely died. Like, I don't know. I've resigned myself to the fact that I can't really grow corn. I have one very large sunflower. It was taller until the wind kind of knocked it about a bit. I have red noodle beans, which I was rather confused about for a while because I, to my remembrance, did not plant any red noodle beans. But that was because they were in a seed swap and they were not listed as red. It just said noodle beans. So I thought they were green like my other ones, and I just planted them with my green ones, and then they came up red. Which, by the way, I have to make a note about long beans, because these beautiful things here are one, really long. So one bean is kind of like 3 or 4 green beans. And they grow super well in our hot, humid summers. And I have recently learned that they are, a relative of black-eyed peas. They're in the cowpea family, which means if they go a little bit too far, I can just keep them as a shell bean. So these are my beans. They're, not quite as many and not quite as productive as my husband's batch, but they're nice anyway. And some zinnias. Zinnias are some of my new favorites. Next year I definitely want to buy more and plant more. There's some broccoli that I haven't bothered to rip out yet. And some super productive lipstick peppers. I just picked the first one yesterday and it was delicious. We had it with tacos. My tomatoes haven't done super great, but I have, the lemon boys have done best. There's one in there, I don't know if you can see it. It's not quite ripe yet. It's getting there. Let's see. My lettuce is still working on going to seed. I have a couple cucamelons. They're not growing fast and they're not getting very big, so I'm not sure how long I need to leave them. Where is it? There's one. Let's see if we can clear that up for you. Maybe not. Okay, whatever. Here's another one. You'll be able to see this one better. Can't clear it up. Okay. Well, anyway, there's my cucamelons. They're working on it. Some more zinnias. I want to get candy cane mix. Some fun colors. Do a whole row of them in front of the house next year. So, if you've been watching for a while, you may have seen a video where I talked about how productive kale is. And then I threw my leftover kale stump into the compost and it re-rooted itself. It was just a stump that I had pulled out. So this one actually broke off in the storm yesterday. It got walloped by a ginormous sunflower that fell over. So I decided to just rip all the leaves off and shove it in the ground and see if it'll reroot itself. These are my, these over here are 2 China rose radishes that I let go to seed. And they're getting there. I'm gonna leave them until they're like starting to dry out and fall over. Got some more tomatoes in here. Those ones haven't done quite as great, but the carrots are happy. I've had to pull out most of my summer squash. They were just kind of done for. And got some more beans going down there. See if they grow. I did plant some carrot seeds under here, but I don't think any of them took. That's all just grass. So I was going to be planting fall crops. No, plant some more carrots and maybe some more cabbages, things like that. But the problem is you have to keep seedlings moist until they're established. And keeping anything moist in our sandy soil at this time of year is really difficult. So as you can see, I've had to tie up these sunflowers, and they're kind of in a little bundle now, but still there. I've put a bag over this one so that I can save seeds, because if I don't bag it, the birds will eat all the seeds, which I don't mind them eating most of the seeds, but I do need some to save for next year. Got plenty of these lovely Cape gooseberries. I don't know if you can see them in here. Come here. There we go. They're a huskberry, so kind of like a tomatillo, but they're sweeter. They're more of a fruit for snacking on. And they grow under these tomato-like plants. And when they start to get dry, they just kind of fall off. So you often have to pick them up off the ground. Like this one here. And this one right here. And that one right there. So that's kind of nice. You know they're ready if they've fallen off. And if you miss them, the husk just dries out more. For a pretty good amount of time. So my squash trellis got knocked over yesterday, which is why all the leaves are looking a little sad. But as far as I can tell, none of the plants got uprooted, so they're still alive, just a little banged up, which is good, because I have another food shawl down here, which for size, it's almost, it's kind of large softball size at the moment. It'll get bigger. And there's another one on the other side over here, which is about twice that size, all tied up so it doesn't fall down. I did clean out my acorn squash. There's still one branch of it, but I just felt that I needed to clear that walkway out because it was just completely overgrown. This arch looked much prettier before yesterday's windstorm. And I have a butternut. I have 2 butternuts, and they're growing happily. It's okay. But I haven't gotten any squash on them, so I don't know what's up with that. But there's another cushaw. I had to pull a table and a big pot over for it to sit on. So that'll be 4 cushaw off of this one plant. And I got 10 acorn squash off of that crazy thing. And it looks like this is the one branch I let go. It kind of climbed through the trellis and went all the way over here. See if I can find it. I saw one yesterday. There it is. Hopefully I won't be surprised if it gets pollinated and it grows. There's some purple beans that I'm letting go to seed, which we'll talk about next week. Some basil that needs trimmed. I'm going to go around and trim all my basil and pack it in olive oil and freeze it. Yes, you are outside. These are my husband's tomatoes. Somehow we ended up with tons of yellow grape tomatoes, which is fine. They're delicious. See them there. And also, back in here, you can see them. There's some black vernissage, which are very pretty. And of course, all the long beans. So, I talked about long beans before and how you know when they're ready. But let me talk a little bit about when they've gone too far. So, here, pull one out of my basket. I think I talked about this. So you can see this bean is ready. You see the top of the bean and at the very top where it attaches to the vine, and the rest of the bean are basically the same size around. And if you go down to the bottom, the point has pretty much filled out. This one's a little bit small on the end. But, let's see. So here's one that's not done growing yet. Let me see if I can get to a visual there. It's hard to see with the light. But that's basically what they look like when they're ready. But sometimes they grow fast, depending on the weather. You can kind of see these ones, how they're kind of shiny. And when you bend them, it's like they're kind of hollow, almost. Like they bend really easily. Like you can feel the beans inside, and you can kind of see them starting to pop out a bit. This is a much farther gone one, but you can see how the beans kind of start to become visible inside. And then the longer you leave them, the more yellow they get. So somewhere in between this stage and completely brownish white and dry, you can pick them. And then just let them dry out inside. And then you can take them out of the shell and save them as a dried bean for soups and things, just like you would a cowpea. So these have become even more of a favorite of mine because they are super productive. I've had almost 30 pounds of them in the last month off of this one row and the other arch. And I just keep going. These are my, I think they're Roma. They're kind of a plum tomato, I guess. That one's almost ready, but not quite. I just did get these all kind of pulled up. You can see I have supports on my sunflowers because they were just falling over and whacking me in the face. This is my giant one. The other one was the tallest and the biggest for a while, but this thing is massive. It's got to be over 9 feet. I haven't measured it yet, but I mean, you can see how big it is around down here. It's huge. Like if it was a tree branch, I could stand on it easily. It's pretty ginormous. Those squash over there need to be pulled out. They're just about done. And there's some more basil that needs picking. I've got some carrots under here that look like they're doing nicely. The carrots I'll just leave until they're needed. If we are making something with carrots, I find a couple big ones and pull them out. And if we're not, then I just leave them there until, let's see, anybody ready under here? Nope. Not quite ready yet. So, we just leave the carrots until we need them. And they will get sweeter as the weather cools off. Oh, I almost forgot. I direct sowed a couple of okra. Yes, okra. And I didn't know if they would grow, if they would make it, if they would get flowers in time, if they would get fruit. But I have 5 little okras on my okra plants. And they do have the loveliest flowers. I shared that in my Instagram stories a couple weeks ago. Some more carrots. These sunflowers need some help. You can see they're kind of leaning into the path. I've got to take care of those sometime soon. And this TP fell over, but the beans on it were already kind of pathetic. So that just needs cleaned up. I cleaned up so much stuff after yesterday's storm, but sometimes it just takes a while to get everything done. So, there's more beans hiding in there, more carrots. There's beets under there that might do something. In case you're new, I've never had any luck with beets. More zinnias, because they're gorgeous. Oh, hello. This is... Oh, he flew away. Of course they did. But, yeah, we get lots of bugs. Our only real pest problem so far this year has been rabbits and aphids. So, I'm not quite sure what to do with aphids yet. And here's some surprise sweet potatoes. I planted them back in the spring, but I was outside my mind somehow and forgot that you're supposed to, like, they're not like regular potato. You're supposed to grow slips. And I just chucked the whole potato in the ground. And then by the time I did remember, I felt like it was too late, and I hoped that they just kind of would do something. And then I completely forgot that they were even there. And then, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, there they were, coming up out of the ground. So, that's all for now. And I'll see you guys again next week with tips for seed saving.